Hey everyone, Alan Belniak here from SubjectivelySpeaking.net, and today in this little video I'm going to do a modified book review. And what I mean by that is instead of doing a video review of an entire book, I want to focus on one chapter of a book I've read recently, and one chapter that I think has helped me out quite a bit, and I want to share those learnings with you all. The book today is Content Rules by Ann Handley and C.C. Chapman. By now you've probably heard of it. It's a great book, go out and pick it up. It's got a little bit of value for everyone in there. If you're a seasoned content marketer, it's a great desk reference to have to hand out to some other people who might be getting interested in content marketing. If you're a beginner with content marketing, it's great to read cover to cover, as well as pick out some individual chapters and get some good ideas and kind of learn some of the basics of content marketing. And if you're somewhere in the middle, it's still a great read because you can jump around inside the book, get some good ideas, and then also reinforce some of the learnings you already have. So again, like I mentioned just a moment ago, I'm not going to review the entire book. I'm just going to review a couple key points about Chapter 13, which is the difference between eBooks and white papers. And the reason I'm doing that is because I work at a B2B tech company, and we're exploring the use of eBooks a little bit more. And so what I thought I'd do for my company was create a series of guidelines and practices and examples of why and when one might want to use an ebook. And of course I turned to Content Rules to get some of that help, plus some of my own teachings, and I figured why not package it together in a little review to share with you all. So again, if you need yet another reason to buy this book, which I don't think you do because it's a great book, but this should be one more because this encapsulates one great chapter, and the rest of the chapters in the book are just as good, if not better. So first, the book kind of starts off with the differences between a white paper and an ebook. And white papers aren't necessarily bad. They're good. They have their purpose. Ebooks are good for another purpose as well. And what's to focus on there is a difference between your audience and your tone. White papers are a little more, I don't mean this in a bad way, stuffy. They're more academic. They use bigger words kind of thing, where ebooks are more conversational. You can use contractions, lots of color, lots of zip, lots of pizzazz. It's like a conversation, as if someone approached you at a trade show, asked you a question about something and you gave an answer. It's that kind of language. It flows a little more. So keep in mind your audience and the tone when you want to consider what you're going to write. Keep in mind the subject matter and how it might best be delivered. And in the beginning of the chapter, there's a good table that compares and contrasts the differences and reasons of why you might want to use a white paper versus an ebook. About 2/3 the way through the book, there's 9 points to keep in mind when constructing an ebook. I'm not going to cover all of those. I want to just cover a handful to keep this video at a decent length. But again, go ahead and read this chapter page by page, because I think you're getting a lot of value out of it. One of the things to keep in mind, speaking of value, is the first point, which is share, don't shill. And this is reiterated throughout the book. What's to keep in mind with this point here is that you want to give the reader a reason for why they're going to have that ebook and why they might want to consume it and share it and like it. And I don't mean to Facebook like it, I mean actually enjoy it. If you're going to plaster it with your company's name and your product's name and why you're the greatest and the coolest and the best of breed and all that kind of stuff, they're not going to want to read that. But if you solve a problem, if you help them uncover a solution, if you show value in something else, then it's going to be you're going to give them a reason to read it. So again, share, don't shill. The next is keep it fun and conversational. I touched upon this just a moment ago, but the point is, you can use contractions, you can use jokes, you can use a little bit of comedy, you can use a really rich analogy to tell your story. Do different kinds of things. It's a different literary device to get a point across, and you should take advantage of that. Moving from there, and next is design. And again, with the keep it conversational in the design, you can really create a different kind of a marketing asset. And what I mean by design is big, bold colors, text treatments, call-outs, block quotations, things like that. Link out to other pieces of the website. Do something useful. Make this a really interactive piece that people can grab onto and say, yeah, this is great. One of the lines I use out with my colleagues at work is that make an ebook so that they want to turn the page, versus something where they feel like they have to turn the page. Make it skimmable. Make it where they can still walk away with some good pieces of information, whether they read the thing cover to cover or even just by a few call-outs, a few pieces of skim text. They can get some real value out of that. Also, you want to make this content shareable. In the book, they use the phrase social bling, which I think is a great phrase. But the idea is that, sure, you can have your print and your save buttons on your PDF, but something that we're exploring with is a tweet button and a Facebook button, and maybe a LinkedIn button, all depending on our audience and our topic, that run along the bottom of our ebook from page to page. The idea is that as someone reads this and consumes this information, give them every opportunity that's reasonable to share your content for you, help them market for you. Lower those barriers to sharing. So you can pre-create some tweet text, you can have it jump to your Facebook page, and so on and so forth. So make it shareable, make it likable, make it spreadable. And the last one I want to cover here is about registration forms. Again, if your goal for your ebook is to get this content and this idea spread around, you don't want to put it behind a reg form, because people are just going to drop off. They're not going to want to fill out that information just to get a PDF. Make it free. Make it truly free, not even providing information. Now in the book, they do provide some reasons, and CC do provide some reasons about why you might want to keep it behind a registration form. And those are pretty good reasons, but it all depends what your objective is. So you should go read that whole chapter and focus on the end to understand the differences about why you might and might not want to put your ebook behind a registration form. And of course, for those of you that may already know, David Meerman Scott's got some great viewpoints on this as well. So you head on over to webinknow.com and you can read those. Just search for ebook and you'll find it. He also writes the foreword for this book, so you can gather that this book is being backed by some great minds in the social and digital space. So again, Content Rules by Ann Handley and CC Chapman. Chapter 13, eBooks versus Whitepapers, a great chapter. The rest of the book is great too. So head on over to your favorite bookstore or head on over to contentrulesbook.com to find out where you can buy it. Thanks for listening. This is Alan Belniak from subjectivelyspeaking.net.